Okay, so I've been meaning to do this for quite some time now. If you could see behind me, it's a little bit of a mess and I need to fix that, but I've moved everything from this wall. I have a wall right here. I've moved everything from this wall out so that I could do this project, and it's been like that for months. I've even pushed it back so that I could film and then pulled it back out thinking I'm gonna do this project once again, and I keep forgetting. So I'm gonna do this once and for all. It's the long weekend. I've got the time. Let me just do this. You've never really seen my basement all that much. I've got my main angle here, and my table is where my camera is actually mounted. If you've seen the video, I'll link it in the top corner here. I did a quick little short about my camera setup. I can go more into detail with that a little bit later on. And then I have this wall here, and we're gonna fix this wall. Traffic light's down right now because I need to finish this wall. That just about does it. The thing about this is that it adds storage for me, and it's a cool looking wall. Now I have a place for my Hot Wheels, which is super fun. And also, it makes another filming angle, so I don't always have to film this way. So I now have another angle, which is super cool. Okay, let's try this on for size. This is a nice little change of scenery. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tim and I love all things model trains, but I specialize mostly in weathering and graffiti. And today, I'm gonna be tackling this Walthers HO scale 50-foot high cube boxcar from UMP. This was sent to me by Jason the Train Freak. If you haven't seen his channel, you should definitely check it out. I will link it in the description. He just said go nuts. So, I mean, I'm already nuts. But we'll see what happens. Before I dive into it though, I do want to remind you that on June 4th, if you're in Canada, you should be nowhere else other than Otter Valley Railroad in Tillsonburg, Ontario. A bunch of us from YouTube in Canada in the model railroad community are going to be at Otter Valley Railroad in Tillsonburg, Ontario on June 4th at 10 a.m. We're going to be meeting up for some shopping, some hanging out. We're going to break for lunch and then do some rail fanning. It's going to be a great time. The whole day is being put on by Otter Valley Railroad and Go Via or Go Home, and all of us from Third Rail Thursday, which includes M&M Rails and myself. Dave Coe, unfortunately, is not going to be there. However, there will be lots of other people, including DJ's Trains, Mini Prince, and many, many more. So if you want to find out more about that, I will link a video for that right here, I believe. But one of the things I mentioned, and I'll mention it again here in case you missed it, I'm going to be offering a one-day only 20% off sale on all of my commissioned graffiti work. That means that if you are at Otter Valley Railroad in Tillsonburg, Ontario on June 4th at 10 a.m. and you bring cars for me to graffiti, and if you don't have cars for me to graffiti, you can buy cars because we're going to be at a train store. So you could just buy some and you'll get 25% off my commissioned work, which is going to be great. But also, it saves on the shipping because you don't have to ship them to me. We'll just have to worry about shipping them back. Another benefit to it is I'm going to be raffling off a Sterling Society hat, which if you haven't been watching this channel very long is a super awesome hat company. The owner of the company is a great friend of mine and I always wear his hats and they're super cool. And Chris wears one from Go Via or Go Home, and if you're not wearing one, you should get one. I'm gonna sell some there. He's gonna be giving me a trunk load of hats that I can bring with me to sell if you're interested, and also I'm going to be raffling one off. The way that you can get into that raffle is by subscribing to this channel, Go Via or Go Home, M&M Rails, and Dave Co. 4 channels. You're probably already subscribed anyway. If you're not, do that and you're entered into the raffle. The other way you can enter is by giving me cars to graffiti. So the more cars that you give me to graffiti, the more chances you have to win. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've done a second coat of the orange, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with both the yellow and the red, and with the red I'm going to come in from the bottom, and the yellow I'm going to come in from the top, and just blend the two together and make kind of like a sandwich look. I'm not changing my brush, I'm just using the exact same one, and I'm not waiting for the paint to dry either, so you get a blend of the two colors. You'll probably have to go over it a couple of times because it's just gonna blend in with the orange and make a slightly lighter orange, but that's the whole idea. You wanna have a bit of a gradient. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the red now. The more you go over it, the more it blends, which is kind of what you want. You don't want to really see a line between the two colors, or in this case 3 colors. You just kind of want to see the color change as you look across the piece. So that's starting to look like something. Well, I'm just gonna let this dry. It's looking pretty cool so far. You can really see that gradient between the 3 colors. This is just a leftover chunk from egg carton foam. You can use any sponge, but I find these work well because they've got little nubbins that you can use for painting. And I've taped off the road name, and I'm honestly just gonna go for it. So here we go. What I plan on doing though is putting a fairly thin coat so that I can still see the blue behind it. It doesn't look very thin right now, but I'm gonna not really add too much more paint to the sponge, and I'm just gonna spread it out as thin as I can. After I've got a good amount on, I can take the sponge and just wipe down with it, and then go back in and just keep repeating that until I get a desired look. I want it to be faded, I don't want it to be too obnoxious. As far as that one is concerned, we're pretty much done. Let's just let that dry. In the meantime, I've gone ahead and put the outline in a purple paint marker. They're just a set of 18 paint markers that I got off of Amazon. Nothing spectacular. They're like 20 bucks for 18 paint markers, which is a pretty sweet deal when you think about it. I'll go ahead and link them in the description so you can check them out. But I'm just gonna go in now with a few other details. Tim from the future here. I just realized while I was editing this video that I didn't film an entire side of the car. My memory card was full, and I do apologize, but we're just gonna keep on going. Moving right along, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Model Railroad content right here on They Make It Like That. Don't forget to subscribe. Anyway, without further ado, alright, so now we have the second side done. As you can see, it pretty well covers the entire side, but you can still see the blue of the car in behind, which I think is a really cool look. And it's especially going to be cool when we take off the tape, but we're not doing that until it's done being weathered. I will say this, I've done it before. It was actually a happy accident that I did this the last time, and I showed it to you on my last live where I did 2 of the same graffiti on different scales, one in HO and one in N scale. But this is a new favorite of mine. Is what I'm doing is I'm going over the silver roof with a silver metallic marker, and once it gets a little bit tacky, I hit it with the weathering powder and it creates a really cool effect. I'll show it to you just now. So I'm just using AIM weathering powder, and I'm putting a heavy line down the middle, and then I have a really grumpy looking dollar store brush that I've been using for quite some time, and I'm gonna blend it out. And then I'm gonna come in again with a light rust. Before that was dark rust, now I'll do light rust. Now this is a tried and true method of weathering. I've done this countless times, and it just works for me. It doesn't take long, and I'm happy with the results, and you can get a lot accomplished this way. If weathering is something that you want on your layout, but you're too afraid, because the thing about it is, if you have all kinds of bright, shiny cars on your layout, and then you decide that you want to weather one or two, they're going to stand out because the whole world is dirty. The whole world is weathered, essentially. That's why, I mean, they make it like that, right? When you only do one or two cars, it stands out. This method, it might not be the best method for weathering, but it's definitely the most efficient, in my opinion. Like, I just did the roof of this car, and even if you did the roof, it works great. I'm gonna go in on the sides now, and just in a few spots, streak down with the light rust once again. I'm not gonna go too heavy on the weathering, because the car's already busy enough. It's got a lot going on. Just across the top in a few spots, blend it in with the brush. Again, if you spend 10 minutes on every car and do this, your layout's gonna look pretty disgusting pretty quick. And that's what we're going for. I'm gonna come in now with dirty yellow aim weathering powder, just to fade out the rest of this side of the car. But this is just gonna help fade that blue, because the blue I find is really shiny. You can already see, if you compare this side to this side, you can already see that it's making a pretty big difference. Once you're satisfied and you don't want to do any more, you can clear coat this with Tester's dull coat or any other kind of matte finish clear coat. I'm pretty satisfied with the look of that. I mean, you've got this side here, just got a few rust streaks, and then you've got this side here where it's got the faded look. I will go in real quick with black pan pastel just to give it a little bit of grime on the bottom. I'm not going to go too heavy, just a little bit along the bottom here. I'm applying this with a makeup wedge. It's just a, it used to be white cosmetic sponge that you can get at the dollar store. Alright, so the moment you've all been waiting for. We're gonna take off the tape now. Get under there a little bit. There's a little bit of bleeding. That's alright. Not a big deal. Get under there as well. Alright, so that's one side. Let's get this one here. Look at that. That looks cool. I'm not gonna lie. So the roof, with that metallic marker look, we've got some scratching going on, which is really cool, some rust, and then we have the first side here. We've got a couple of pieces, and we've got a couple of tags, which are kind of hard to see, but not all graffiti is easy to see. And then when you flip it over, you see the other side. We've got that. I'm happy with it. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if there's anything you would do differently, or if there's anything you would like to see. I might just do it. You never know. You know how it is. I'm always winging it. Don't forget, like I mentioned before, we are meeting on June 4th at 10 a.m. in Tillsonburg, Ontario at Otter Valley Railroad. There's going to be a bunch of us there. Go Via or Go Home, myself, M&M Rails, DJ's Trains, Mini Prince, and many, many more people from the Model Railroad YouTube community. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to hang out. We're going to do some shopping. I want to give a big shout out to Lauren from Otter Valley for putting this on. I think it's really cool of him to let us come and invade his store for the day. The biggest thanks that we could give him is to buy as many trains as we possibly can. And that brings me to my next point. I will be offering a one-day only 20% off sale on my commissioned graffiti work. You can bring cars to give to me, or you can buy cars at Otter Valley Railroad and give those to me as well. Any car that you give me on that day will be 20% off. Plus, you'll be saving on the shipping because you'll be giving me the car in person rather than having it shipped to me and that's going to save you money as well. And last but not least, I will also be raffling off a Sterling Society hat. It could be like this one. It might be a different style. You never know. I'm probably going to bring a bunch of them, and you can choose whichever one you want if you win. But the way that you enter into this raffle is to be subscribed to They Make It Like That, M&M Rails, Go Via or Go Home, and Dave Co. If you're subscribed to all 4 of those channels, you will automatically be entered into the raffle. All you have to do is provide proof that you are subscribe to all 4 channels. And if you want more entries into the raffle, all you have to do is give me more cars to graffiti. Every car that you give to me to graffiti is another entry into the raffle. Now that my rant about all of the fun things on June 4th is over, I'm gonna sign off for now, but thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jason, for sending me this car, and once again, remember, they make it like that.